Hello, I'm Willie from the Ozarks. Thank you for joining me on August what today is, the 11th of 2022 for A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students, Lesson 223 from the original edition. God is my life. I have no life but His. God is my life. I have no life but His. I was mistaken when I thought I lived apart from God, a separate entity which moved in isolation, unattached, and housed within a body. Now I know my life is God's. I have no other home, and do not exist apart from Him. He has no thoughts that are not part of me, and I have none but those which are of Him. Think of that. Let me read that last sentence again. I'm going to throw in just another word. He has no thoughts that are not a part of me, and I have no thoughts but those which are of Him. And the prayer says, Our Father, let us see the face of Christ instead of our mistakes. For we who are your holy Son are sinless. We would look upon our sinlessness, for guilt proclaims that we are not your Son, and we would not forget you longer. We are lonely here and long for heaven, where we are at home. Today we would return. Our name is yours, and we acknowledge that we are your Son. Okay, well, we're going to come back and read that once more, but we're going to take a look at what is forgiveness first. And I like to do my devotions that way. I like to read the lesson, the second part of the course. I like to read the lesson, go back and read the associated page, which is in this case, what is forgiveness, and then read the lesson once again, and then have your time of quiet. Remember how he told us that we were supposed to have in our review? We read that twice. I really wanted you to be sure to understand what to do. And so you might even go back and look at it again, but let's read the first paragraph again, or maybe the first two paragraphs of the introduction. I want to be sure that you understand we're trying to look for this time of wordless quiet, that we just used our words and our thoughts at the beginning of the practice as kind of like a guardrail, and just to kind of keep us, our mind where it belongs. But then we allow thoughtlessness, or is that what I'm trying to say? Just allow yourself to be still and quiet. Words will mean little now. I'm reading this to you out of the introduction again, part 2. We use them but as guides on which we do not now depend on the words. For now we seek direct experience of truth alone. Okay, we're seeking direct experience of truth alone. The lessons which remain are merely introduction to the times in which we leave the world of pain and go to enter peace. Now we begin to reach the goal this course has set and find the end toward which our practicing was geared. Now we attempt to let the exercise be merely a beginning, for we wait in quiet expectation for our God and Father. Wow, this is really important that we do that we use the words as a starting point in our waiting in quiet expectation for our God and Father. He has promised He will take the final step Himself, and we are sure His promises are kept. We have come far along the road, and now we wait for Him. We will continue spending time with Him each morning and at night, as long as makes us happy. We will not consider time a matter of duration now. We use as much as we will need for the result that we desire. Nor will we forget our hourly remembrance in between, calling to God when we have need of Him, as we are tempted to forget our goal. So that's the basic way we're going to be proceeding on our lessons now. We'll use them as at the beginning of our longer period, and also have our hourly remembrance. That's why I encourage you to be sure to write it on a card. Just, nothing hard. God is my life. I have no life but His. That way, if you forget during the day, you can pull it out and remember. Okay, let's go take a look in our text reading before we read the what is forgiveness. Let's go look in our text. We're ready for. Let's start in paragraph 64 of section 8, the meeting place, in chapter 24, specialness and separation. So the meeting place, section 8. While you're turning there, let me tell you about a couple things. I'm sitting in front of this white oak tree again, and I kind of want, I've got this little bit of a white oak leaf, so maybe you can kind of get your eye of what, most oaks are lobed. This is and with a white oak, you're going to have to just learn it's usually the white bark opposed to the darker bark of your black oaks. And it's usually kind of a scaly bark. Scaly and, kind of like ridges. Is that what I'm trying to say? I made that white oak I had yesterday, I made some tea out of it. And I whittled it a little bit and broke it up, threw it in the pot. And I'm not sure that it's a good idea, but sometimes I just leave the leaves on it too. This one here was canned, and I've got a really nice way to can things. If you'll take your hot tea after it's made and pour it in a clean jar, and I a lot of times will turn it upside down just to make sure that I get that hot tea against my lid, and I reuse my lids, put it on, and I find they generally seal, and you don't have to refrigerate it. I'm going to be drinking this here in the next day or two, so it didn't really make a lot of difference. If you're going to put it in the refrigerator and keep it, well, it doesn't really matter if you can it or not. But I kind of like to just can things so I don't have to refrigerate it, and that's a simple way to can rather than go into a whole lot of effort. What I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the white oak. I found this on, that website yesterday that we were looking at was the Hindalwa website. And what did I do with the, oh, here it is. That Hindalwa website had just a lot of information about oaks in general worldwide and all their medicinal uses. I found this on naturalmedicinalherbs.net. The bark is boiled and the liquid drunk in the treatment of bleeding piles and diarrhea, intermittent fevers, coughs and colds, consumption, asthma, lost voice, etc. The bark has been chewed as a treatment for mouth sores, and it'll also help with toothaches. Okay, it didn't say that on that particular where I found that. It may have said it if you looked into it deeper, but anyway, we'll look at a lot of different qualities of your white oak. And let's see. And also I wanted to tell you about another runner bean out of the Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Catalog. Remember, this is a cool climate vine beans, and the black coat runner bean. Black coat runner bean. An ancient heirloom runner bean dating as far back as the mid-1600s and first recorded by German botanist Michael Titus in his Catalogus Plantarum. This rare runner bean produces masses of gorgeous blooms ranging in color from tangerine to cherry red, making this edible ornamental pole bean irresistible to hummingbirds. Pods are much shorter than other runner beans. Immature pods can be eaten just like sugar snap peas. The stout pods yield just 2 to 3 beans per shell. Pretty, plump beans that change from pink to purple and then to a pure ebony black. Fantastic. Used like a kidney bean, cooking down to a creamy texture. And that's your black coat runner bean. All right, let us take a look in our text reading. Like I said, section 8 it's called the meeting place in chapter 24, paragraph 64. How can you know your worth while specialness claims you instead? How can you fail to know it is His holiness? Seek not to make your specialness the truth, for it is where you would be lost indeed. Oh, for if it were, you would be lost indeed. Seek not to make your specialness the truth, for if it were, you would be lost indeed. Be thankful, rather, it is given you to see His holiness, because it is the truth. And what is true in Him must be as true in you. 65. Ask yourself this: can you protect the mind? Ask yourself this: can you protect the mind? The body, yes, a little, not from time, but temporarily. And much you think you save, you hurt. And much you think you save, you hurt. What would you save it for? For in that choice lie both its health and harm. Save it for show, as but to catch another fish, to house your specialness in better style, or weave a frame of loveliness around your hate, and you condemn it to decay and death. And if you see this purpose in your brothers, such is your condemnation of your own. Weave rather than a frame of holiness around him, that the truth may shine on him and give you safety from decay. The truth will shine on him, see his holiness, and it'll protect you from decay, he says. The Father keeps what he created safe. You cannot touch it with the false ideas you made, because it was created not by you. Let not your foolish fantasies frighten you. What is immortal cannot be attacked. What is but temporal has no effect. Only the purpose that you see in it has meaning, and if that is true, its safety rests secure. If not, it has no purpose and is means for nothing. Whatever is perceived as means for truth shares in its holiness and rests in light as safely as itself. Nor will that light go out when it is gone. Its holy purpose gave it immortality, seeing another light in heaven, where your creations recognize a gift from you, a sign that you have not forgotten them. 67. The test of everything on earth is simply this: what is it for? The test of everything on earth is simply this: what is it for? The answer makes it what it is for you. It has no meaning of itself, yet you can give reality to it according to the purpose which you serve. Here you are but means along with it. God is a means as well as end. In heaven, means and end are one, and one with Him. This is the state of true creation, found not within time, but in eternity. To no one here is this describable. To no one here is this describable, nor is there any way to learn what this condition means. Not till you go past learning to the given, not till you make again a holy home for your creations, is it understood. 68. So we can see the importance of seeing everyone as holy, so that we can understand what God wants us to understand. 68. A co-creator with the Father must have a son. Yet must this Son have been created like himself, a perfect being, all-encompassing and all-encompassed, nothing to add and nothing taken from, not born of size nor weight nor time, nor held to limits or uncertainties of any kind. Here do the means and end unite as one, nor does the one have any end at all. Let's read that again. Here do the means and end unite as one, nor does this one have any end at all. All this is true, and yet it has no meaning to anyone who still retains one unlearned lesson in his memory, one thought with purpose still uncertain, and one wish with a divided aim. Wow. One unlearned lesson in his memory. Remember what he told us back on lesson 193? All things are lessons God would have me learn. Well, learn your lesson to forgive, and you will see this differently. Don't hold any unforgiveness, or you won't understand the kingdom of heaven and the way that God thinks, the way he wants you to think. 69. This course makes no attempt to teach what cannot be easily learned. So the forgiveness of everyone is easily learned. Just got to put our values, get them straightened out. This course makes no attempt to teach what cannot easily be learned. Its scope does not exceed your own, except to say that what is yours will come to you when you are ready. That's nice to know. Here are the means and purpose separate because they were so made and so perceived, and therefore do we deal with them as if they were. It is essential to be kept in mind that all perception still is upside down until its purpose has been understood. Perception does not seem to be a means, and it is this that makes it hard to grasp the whole extent to which it must depend on what you see it for. Let's read that last sentence again. Perception does not seem to be a means, and it is this that makes it hard to grasp the whole extent to which it must depend on what you see it for. Perception seems to teach you what you see, yet it but witnesses to what you taught. It is the outward picture of a wish, an image that you wanted to be true. So we think that, let's read that in. Perception seems to teach you what you see, yet it but witnesses to what you taught. It is the outward picture of a wish, an inner thought, an inner wish, an image that you wanted to be true. Okay, let's stop there for today, and we'll pick up tomorrow on paragraph 70. Okay, let's go take a look now at our lesson once again. Lesson 223, God is my life, I have no life but his. And let us now read what is forgiveness. And he tells us to read that kind of thoughtfully, slowly. What is forgiveness? Forgiveness recognizes what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred. It does not pardon sins and make them real. It sees there was no sin, and in this view are all your sins forgiven. What is sin except a false idea about God's Son? Forgiveness merely sees its falsity and therefore lets it go. What then is free to take its place is now the will of God. An unforgiving thought is one which makes a judgment that it will not raise to doubt, although it is not true. The mind is closed and will not be released. The thought protects projection, tightening its chains so that distortions are more veiled and more obscure, less easily accessible to doubt, and further kept from reason. What can come between a fixed projection and the aim that it has chosen as its needed goal? An unforgiving thought does many things. In frantic action, it pursues its goal, twisting and overturning what it sees as interfering with its chosen path. Distortion is its purpose, and the means by which it would accomplish it as well. It sets about its furious attempts to smash reality without concern for anything that would appear to pose a contradiction to its point of view. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is still. and quietly does nothing. It offends no aspect of reality, nor seeks to twist it to appearances that it likes. It merely looks and waits and judges not. He who would not forgive must judge, for he must justify his failure to forgive. But he who would forgive himself must learn to welcome truth exactly as it is. Do nothing then, and let forgiveness show you what to do. Through him who is your guide, your Savior and defender, strong in hope and certain of your ultimate success, he has forgiven you already, for such is his function given him by God. Now must you share his function and forgive whom he has saved, whose sinlessness he sees, and whom he honors as the Son of God. And once again on our lesson 223, God is my life. I have no life but his. I was mistaken when I thought I lived apart from God, a separate entity which moved in isolation, unattached and housed within a body. Now I know my life is God's. I have no other home and do not exist apart from him. He has no thoughts that are not part of me, and I have none but those which are of him. And the prayer says, Our Father, let us see the face of Christ instead of our mistakes. We who are your holy Son are sinless. We would look upon our sinlessness, for guilt proclaims that we are not your Son, and we would not forget you longer. We are lonely here and long for heaven where we are at home. Today we would return. Our name is yours, and we acknowledge that we are your Son. God is my life. I have no life but his. God is my life, and I have no life but his. God is my life. I have no life but his.